Today on Won't You Be My Gamer, we are talking about the healthy and unhealthy relationships of Game of Thrones, going to sleep angry, and just what makes a healthy relationship. I'm Elise Willems.
I'm Nikole Zavallich.
And we're joined by Danielle, who's a relationship expert. You have taught us so much about what it means, not to just like be in a romantic relationship in a healthy way, but like a friend relationship, a roommate relationship.
Thank you.
In a good way, and also about the ick.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about the ick,
Yeah, there's a lot of ick out there.
We're back. Thanks for waiting for us.
Hermit arms.
Yay! And Nikole and I are facing some in It Takes Two.
We are. We're playing It Takes Two. We're in like the second level area, and we've learned that we need to respect each other's differences.
If you need to jump on a rail a little bit earlier than I do, that's okay.
You know, you can also have connection through conflict. If you are working together on solving your conflicts and know and trust each other to have good conflicts or to communicate through those conflicts, then you will build more trust and connection through it.
Close.
Pretty amazing.
We were so close to getting that one.
Okay, but what if you find your partner overwhelming at times? This is a question from marriage.com. Am I happy in my relationship? They wanted to know, do you find your partner overwhelming at times? This was like, is it a test of the health status of your marriage? Never, sometimes, often, always. Is it normal or not normal?
Absolutely normal. And I think anybody who is in some type of couple, whatever kind of couple, throuple, whatever it is, will find partners overwhelming at times because everybody's different and we can't read minds. But I think in terms of this question, like if you were to always find your partner overwhelming, then that might be something you go to therapy with. You might be having a trauma response to them. You might be having a gridlock issue come up where you can't communicate well. But I mean, I think that it's normal to find your partner overwhelming at times. I mean, you know, there are times where you may want to have quiet time and your partner will want to like talk a lot. You know, so for me as a therapist, I come home and, you know, I deal with the little one. She's pretty wild. So, you know, after kind of listening a lot throughout the day, I'll just want to like, you know, Netflix and chill or just watch, literally though. And, and, you know, sometimes my partner will want to come and talk to me and I'll have to be like, okay, I'm definitely want to hear what you have to say. And right now, I think I just need like 10 minutes of just quiet time, you know? And I think if you can communicate through it, again, like you're good, you know?
Yeah, is it that sometimes maybe your partner isn't overwhelming, you're just overwhelmed by other things?
Yeah,
I bet you that's got to be common. Now, this isn't like a serious argument they're having in the sense that the wife has deduced that magic is involved. This is a spell. And the dad's a little more like, well, that's ridiculous. Magic doesn't exist. And I think that's an example of different dismissiveness, but also not believing, not having the same values. Yeah. And so I wonder, like, for me, if you didn't believe that magic was even possible, we could have little fights, right? But what if it's bigger? What if it's like politics and that kind of ideology? How much does that matter?
You don't have to share every single thing. It's great to be two different people, two unique people, and it's great to be able to have interesting dialogues. Our differences make us interesting in relationships. We don't need to be too similar, but when there are value clashes and sometimes conflict style clashes, like the mismatch attachment, or just a mismatch in how we deal with our own emotions. It's called meta emotion mismatch, which means like, okay, you know, somebody is more expressive with their emotions or somebody keeps their emotions inside, that would be a mismatch. But again, you know, I really think it comes down to commitment. If you want to commit to having the relationship and working towards radical acceptance of something that you don't necessarily believe in, then there are always ways to adapt to each other's differences.
Are there some times when you're just with somebody and you just get that ick?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have the
Can we talk about that ick?
the ick list, right? I mean, you know, like swiping and so forth.
This was our favorite thing that you brought, the ick list, this book of like reasons you can do better.
Yeah, so I also work with a lot of singles. You know,
Okay.
and a lot of singles right now having a hard time finding partners that are, you know, match with them. And there's a lot of ideas about, oh, is there something better out there? Is there something better out there? But a lot of times people will have low self-esteem going through these dating apps and maybe having a lot of rejection and so forth. So I bring this in. The ick list is about, you know, let's recognize what we don't like so that we can also acknowledge what we do like and seek that out and almost manifest it, right? So some things on the ick list. Here's a good one.
Should we say whether it icks us or not?
Yeah, let me know.
And for those watching who don't know, ick is like the new term that we all use collectively to describe just being like a little bit grossed out. So sometimes people describe it as like the first time they see their partner wearing like running in just socks. You know, just simple,
you get that
simple little
feeling.
things, and you're like, ew.
It makes you almost see your partner a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's anything there about loving the Muppets, that is wrong and incorrect, and we can just throw that book in the trash completely.
Fair enough. I don't
say.
see any Muppet talk.
Okay, good.
Tell me if this icks any of you out. When the brightness on their phone is too low.
Oh, so you know that wouldn't ick me because my brightness is as low as possible on everything.
Same,
And I
same.
have night mode on 24/7. Like every screen of mine is dim and yellow.
I think that's indicative of you and I being from a generation where like you had less phone battery, so you got to preserve that battery. So
And I got LASIK, and so my eyes are extra sensitive.
Yeah,
today.
what does it say
So
about
a
us?
few
Fair
things are
enough.
happening.
I too keep it low. So I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
That is responsible.
What's the opposite of ick? I'm more into him now.
How about when they don't say hi to a dog?
Oh, that's a game over. Game over.
See,
Show yourself the door.
I'm more on the fence about it because if I'm on a walk and then someone's walking their dog and that person looks like they want to talk to me, I'm not talking to that dog because I don't want to engage with humans.
You say hello to every animal at the zoo, and now you're telling me that you're not gonna
Because none of
call
them
out
have
hello
humans
to a
attached. I don't want the humans.
So here, this is a scene where I guess before we were transformed, our daughter is talking to us about how important it is to forgive.
And she talks a lot about the how much, not that she wants her parents back together, she wants her parents to be friends again. And that she uses that language a lot in the game. I want you guys to learn how to be friends again.
Good relationship.
That would be something that is really important, you know, maybe not friends, but at least functional co-parents and not disparaging the other parent to the child, because the child will internalize that.
Yeah.
They're already going to be having a hard time with the transition if there is a breakup, separation, divorce. But usually a child's mindset, because they are tuned into survival, they will think that they will be the cause of something that is maybe confrontational. So that is why it is important for the parents to be as communicative between each other as possible. Not always the case, you know, sometimes people cannot communicate, but, you know, you want to aim for the best you can do.
Yeah. And so we have another question from chat, Kim B, whoever you are, you sound beautiful and kind. It's my friend. She asks, does your expert have any examples of couples in fiction or media that are good examples of healthy relationships? That's tough.
Loaded.
Because,
I only see bad ones.
and that's what makes funny TV. That's sitcoms. That's drama. And so, yeah, I can imagine that that's difficult.
Could we give you ones and then you tell us whether you think it's healthy or not?
Absolutely.
The Notebook.
I would say that one was probably a toxic relationship, just judging by the way they have conflict, you know, pushing and also, you know, being dishonest with their partners, their current partners. I think there was some cheating involved, and also just a little bit of manipulation. There's some subtle manipulation, like showing up uninvited is a little bit, you know, anxious, I would say.
All right, we got another comment. Let's see. This is from Andrew. Hal and Louise Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle seemed healthy, even though they fought sometimes and were different. But they knew how to work things out, and they knew each other's boundaries and were deeply in love. And they definitely had chaos. The chaos of, I imagine, comes with having 4 sons.
Yeah.
So like, who knows what they were like before they had 4 sons? You know, their relationship dynamic would have been totally different. But it did seem to be one of love.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, conflict is to be expected. Having conflict is always going to happen. It's inevitable. It's about how we interact in that conflict that really means make or break, right? So if the 4 horsemen are there, you know, trending in the wrong direction. But if you are having, you know, mutual respect when you're having conflict, then really you have a strength there. And even if you do fight sometimes, like, no one's perfect, right? So we are all human. We have to accept each other's humanity.
Would you ever recommend couples explore co-op like this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anytime you can have connection, any chance there's a bid for connection, like if your partner is like, hey, you want to come join me in doing this, you want to recognize that and say, oh, they're asking me to connect with them. That's a bid for my connection. And so, yeah, absolutely. Anything that is involving time together, quality time especially. But you want to also be mindful when it comes to like technology too, right? Like phones and so forth are having a big effect on couples these days.
Speaking of apps, dating apps
Yeah.
are like a big thing. That's how people meet people, how they connect. Even like friend apps. I know some friends that have just met friends on apps. Are there clients that come to you and say, like, Danielle, I need your help with my dating profile? You know, like, how can I make myself like desirable for someone?
Yeah, actually, yes. I would usually reframe that towards the client, and you know, I would start with something deep, like, okay, well, what are your needs? What are your values? What do you want long term? And it's more about kind of cultivating what that person is into so that they can find someone to meet them where they're at, right? And also identifying things that maybe they don't want. So in terms of a dating profile, I mean, I would probably just advise no tigers in the photos.
Like no big game hunting?
Yeah, like
I'm gonna have a lot of friends that are disappointed to hear that.
Right.
I have a lot of big game hunting friends. This is known about me on Won't You Be My Gamer?
I'm not judging at all. I would say
I am.
I would say if you want to attract genuine connection, then you should probably portray some genuineness about yourself in your profile. I would also maybe put in there, you know, anything that you would like for them to join in terms of interests, like if you play a sport or like horror movies. I know long ago in my old, what was it, Bumble profile, I think I said, like, if you don't like Game of Thrones, then please don't, you know? So, because, you know, you got to talk about certain things, right?
Here's another question. It posed, how much do you and your significant other talk? 6 hours or less per week? Almost never. We just cuddle all day. A lot, it's mostly joking around. At least 100 hours per week. We've been talking less than usual. It changes a lot. It depends. I think this might have been from a BuzzFeed quiz. I'm not 100% sure. But like, is there a normal for people, or is it kind of like what fits your relationship?
Definitely a relationship fit. I would always encourage more communication, even if it's nonverbal, right? You can have, you know, body language communication. You could give each other a look and know what that means. I would say, though, that probably best to have more communication around things. Otherwise, you're kind of left in the dark guessing, and that's not a way to move forward. Probably like at least 100 hours per week. I mean, if it's too much, it's too much, but that depends on the couple, right? But
Are there 100 hours in a week? What? How much are we talking?
I couldn't talk with my partner all the time.
That's
if,
lovely.
If he would want to.
Yeah. Let's see.
We're stuck on this tin can here.
We are stuck on this tin can. Cuckoo Burrito says, howdy, I just got here. Amazing game and great idea for a guest. Gotta agree, you have been
Fantastic,
so
Danielle.
lovely, and I've learned so much.
Thank you.
Kim B says, Danielle, who has the most unhealthy relationship in Game of Thrones?
Okay, that's
No
a tough
wrong
one.
answers.
I mean, Jamie and Cersei.
Cersei?
'cause
It's hard to
they're,
not pick incest.
yeah,
As the
you gotta. You almost have to. You know,
Sure,
'cause
sure.
it's
You bred
illegal.
monsters
Yeah.
Yes, I mean
by your incestuous.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I still kind of was rooting for Khaleesi and for Jon Snow.
Honestly-
even if they were somewhat related.
Honestly, same, and I'm betrayed by the creators of Game
I
of
don't know,
Thrones.
but he didn't want it.
Betrayed.
Oh, me too.
He didn't want
And
it. Okay, he didn't want the. He
She
didn't want
freed
anything.
thousands of people.
I don't want it.
She did, and then she.
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense.
And then
I'm
she
not
storms
over it.
one castle. That's what you do to castles. You storm them.
I'm gonna say
was not- I was not
healthiest
happy.
relationship was
not.
Pedro and his like paramour.
Oh yeah.
That they had like a Gomez Morticia thing going
They,
on.
they
a
definitely
little
had
bit.
a very open relationship. Yeah, the Sands have a,
But they still seemed like they cared about each other. and
Oh,
there wasn't,
absolutely.
Like,
They definitely had an alliance for sure. So one of the biggest strengths of a the masters in relationships are the repairs. And this, I just wanted to say this out loud before anything ends because it's so important. So knowing that your partner is going to move towards you to repair after a conflict is one of the biggest the biggest markers of being in a sustainable masters of a relationship, because you always know there's that security and reassurance that you're going to work it out, even if there's time where you take space. And so that's a really important thing to note of how to actually do a repair, how to move towards. And a lot of times it's hard because it takes courage and vulnerability. And sometimes, some people in relationships have a hard time being vulnerable. So it's one of the harder parts, but once you master it, it's not so bad. It's like flexing a muscle or building a muscle.
is being able to and willing to repair. Mm-hmm. The adage of never go to sleep angry.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
I personally agree because, the longer the conflict goes out, there's an amount of time where it's too much time. So, I don't know. I like to go to bed happy. I like to, put it in my head, good feelings before I go to sleep. So it'll, I like to just manifest,
I also feel like if you're arguing for a while and it gets to be nighttime, that's not the best version of you.
Right.
The best version of you is going to have a nice sleep. And if that means talk about it in the morning, then I say take a nap. Whatever you need.
That's wisdom. Yes, the break between anxious and avoidant attachment is so important. So a lot of times the avoidant will have to initiate saying, hey, you know what, I'm feeling flooded and I need at least 20 minutes. Can we meet then? And then the other partner will say, okay. And in that time, they'll self-soothe and then meet at that time. And then, if the avoidant attacher is still feeling flooded or feeling dysregulated, they can then again say, oh, I think I need 20 more minutes. And then they'll meet again. But it's so important to be consistent in meeting at that time. Otherwise, trust gets broken and degrades the relationship.
Because my brain always assumes that something stemmed from it was the Victorian era and we needed something to explain all this death that's happening. Don't go to bed angry was there's a lot of plague. So you may not wake up in the morning. So don't go to bed angry.
Probably. They didn't really live that long either.
No.
Yeah. Plus the plague stuff.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
You have been awesome, Danielle. I feel like we've learned so much, and hopefully everyone watching feels empowered to do the work for themselves and then find somebody that's going to do that with them.
Yeah.
Too. Will you remind everyone where they can go and find more info about your practice?
Absolutely. You can find me on www.loveisaverbcounseling.com, on Instagram at loveisaverbcounseling, Facebook, Love is a Verb Counseling, Gottman Referral Network, Danielle Roxborough, LMFT, Psychology Today, Danielle Roxborough, LMFT, and finally, Fair Play Certified Facilitator. So you'll find me on the Fair Play site under Danielle Roxborough, LMFT.
Come back next week and hang with us. We'll have a new expert joining us. Nikole, how can they support the show in the meantime?
They can support the show by going to pbssocal.org/gamer and donating. No donation is too small, but for $60, you can not only get access to PBS Passport, which is an amazing way to watch all the PBS SoCal shows on your phone or on the TV, and you get an amazing Won't You Be My Gamer t-shirt, and let everyone know how much you love and support this show.
It's this on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Imagine.
Very cool.
Could be yours. Could
Very
be yours.
cool.
And so we appreciate it. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We'll be back with more episodes every Friday.